Maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over that. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest forward. So that's what I say. We aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around. We aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with it, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the annual Motherlode Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. It's a wonderful day, and isn't it wonderful to see water in the Woods Creek and some of the creeks? Yay. I see our wonderful friend Marguerite Johnson and Diane Doddridge in the audience, and I would like to acknowledge both of them, as well as Marguerite's husband, Dan, for being the founders of the Motherlode Martin Luther King Jr. Committee 21 years ago. Thank you. We're here once again to honor and promote the ideals of Dr. King, which are just as relevant today as they were 50 years ago. It's really good to see so many familiar faces, and it's even better to meet people that we don't know yet. Martin Luther King Jr. believed in our interconnectedness. Sitting right next to you or in front of you is a person who believes this too. So go ahead and introduce yourselves to each other. I'll wait. Go ahead. Just really. Just say howdy. Yeah. You might as well now, because at the end of the program, you're going to be holding hands. Okay. You're such a chatty group, huh? Good. Okay, we have a wonderful program planned for you today, so we're going to get right down to it. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. believed in faith and justice to create the beloved community. We here today come from a variety of spiritual and religious traditions, and we honor them all. To begin our program, originally you'll see that Robert Cox, from the Cultural and Resource Director from the Tuolumne Band of the Miwok Indians, was going to give the invocation. He is not able to be with us today, and so I would like to introduce the minister from the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Tuolumne County and Calaveras, Sonia Silkowski. Minister Silkowski.
Great Spirit, who lives in all of our lives and in all of our hearts, I ask you to come be with us today. It fills my heart to see this grand hall full of people who want to live into Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision of what America can be. As we come to listen to Jim Hightower, let us remember all the despair that is in this country right now, all the anger at the ways that power has been taken from the people. Let us remember that mountain of despair and anger and use what we hear today to hew a stone of hope for each of our hearts to move forward, to take actions, and bring Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision more deeply into this community and across the world. Blessed be.
Sonia's taller than I am. Everyone's taller than I am. Okay. Local students of the Poetry Out Loud contingency are with us today. In February 2016, one local student will be selected to represent Tuolumne County at California's State Poetry Out Loud competition. County finals will take place on Tuesday, February 2nd, 2016, right here at the Sonora High School Auditorium. The contest starts at 6 p.m. and it is free and open to the public. Donations to keep Poetry Out Loud successful and growing in our county will be gladly accepted. There were 14 contestants this year from 5 county high schools and 1 homeschooled contestant. Today we have Savannah Garcia, Michaela Wheeler, Aaron David, Patrick McConnell, Phoenix Ferris, Min Kerr-Schifrin, Gabriella Timmons, and Coach Rick Foster. And they will be reciting the poem, Let America Be America Again by Langston Hughes. Gabriella's doing double duty.
Let America be America again.
Let it be the dream it used to be.
Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free.
America never was America to me.
Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed.
Let it be that great, strong land of love, where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above.
It never was America to me.
Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned by no false patriotic wreath, but with opportunity is real and life is free.
Equality is in the air we breathe.
There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free.
Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark?
And who are you that draws her veil across the stars?
I am the poor white pulled and pushed apart.
I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars.
I am the red man, driven from the land.
I am the immigrant, clutching the hope I seek, and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak.
I am the young man, full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient, endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land,
of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need,
of work the men,
of take the pay,
of owning everything for one's own greed.
I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil.
I am the worker, sold to the machine.
I am the Negro, servant to you all.
I am the people, humble, hungry, mean.
Hungry yet today, despite the dream.
Beaten yet today, O pioneers.
I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years.
Yet I'm the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings.
Who dreamt of dreams so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty, daring streams, in every brick and stone, in every furrow turned, that's made America the land it has become.
Oh, I'm the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home.
For I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore,
And Poland's plain,
And England's grassy lead,
And torn from black Africa's strand, I came to build a homeland of the free.
the free,
Who said the free?
not me.
Surely not me.
The millions on relief today,
The millions shot down when we strike?
the millions who have nothing for our pay,
For all the dreams we've dreamed,
and all the songs we've sung,
And all the hopes we've held.
And all the flags we've hung. The millions who have nothing for our pay, except the dream that's almost dead today.
oh, let America be America again.
the land that never has been yet,
And yet must be the land where every man is free.
the land that's mine.
The poor man's.
Indians,
Negroes,
Me,
Who made America?
whose sweat and blood,
whose faith and pain,
Whose hand at the foundry
whose plow in the rain,
must bring back our mighty dream again.
Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain.
For those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must take back our land again.
America!
Oh yes, I say it plain. America,
never was America to me.
and yet I swear this oath.
America will be.
out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death,
The rape and rot of graft and stealth and lies.
We, the people, must redeem the land,
The mines,
the plants,
The rivers,
The mountains and the endless plain.
all the stretch of these great green states.
and make America again.
Thank you very much. That was great. It wouldn't be a Motherlode Martin Luther King Jr. celebration without the beautiful music of Dennis Brown and Michelle Allison. They began working together in the Little Shop of Horrors in 1992, and they've been delighting audiences throughout the Central Valley and the Motherlode and the Valley and the foothills ever since. We're extremely grateful for their continued participation in this event. It's always a pleasure, and it's always a surprise to hear what they're going to be doing. Dennis and Michelle.
Good afternoon. Oh, come on. Good afternoon. Thank you. Oh. Well, last year I came out and I just started trying to sing. I didn't try the microphone, so I thought this time I better talk first, just to make sure. I'm sure many of you have heard about the passing of Natalie Cole on January 1st. And so Dennis and I decided that we would pay tribute to Natalie Cole and her dad, who was a civil rights activist during his time. So the first song that we're going to do was a song that was made famous by Natalie Cole. Is it possible to get the yeah. And then after Inseparable, we're going to do Unforgettable. And now we're going to have a little bit of a duet, Dennis and I. This is a song that was made famous by Natalie Cole's dad, Nat King Cole. And through the modernization technology and all that, she was able to sing along with her dad. So,
in every way. Like a song of love that clings to me, how the thought of you does things to me never before has someone been more and I am unforgettable too.
Thank you for an unforgettable duo. Are you still? You're going to do another? You're not doing it. Thank you. And Dennis, we're so glad that you're healthy. Our area is known for neighbors helping neighbors. And we do have some amazing neighbors among us. Our community has been so fortunate to receive both financial and cultural benefits from the Tuolumne Band of the Miwok Indians. The tribe has been a major sponsor of the Motherlode Martin Luther King Jr. celebration for over 14 years. Today, we have Rhonda Standich, President of the Tuolumne Economic Development Authority for the Tribal Council, here with us. Rhonda was also a member of the Martin Luther King Jr. Committee for several years in the past, and also Ron Patel, the Chief Executive Officer for the Black Oak Casino Retreat. Both TITA and Black Oak are dedicated to providing workplace environments that foster equality, fairness, stability, training, safety, and professional growth to promote the economic and social well-being of the individual and of the community. We would like to take this opportunity to recognize their work and contributions that help make this program possible. Thank you both so much.
I guess I'm a little taller. Well, it really is a privilege to be on the same stage as these magnificent people that entertain and put on this recognition every year. It's a privilege on behalf of the Tuolumne Band of Miwok Indians and Black Oak Casino Resort to be just part of this celebration. We thank you all for attending, and we thank you for the support that you give us. Thank you very much.
Another neighbor that we would like to honor today is Steve Ralston. Mr. Ralston graduated from the University of California Bolt Hall School of Law in 1962 and did graduate work at the Columbia School of Law. At Berkeley, he became involved in the beginnings of the student movement. As a result, he decided on a career as a civil rights lawyer and started working for the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund in 1964. He was on the legal team that defended demonstrators in Selma, Alabama, and that brought the lawsuit that allowed the Selma to Montgomery March to take place in 1965. Over his career, he has handled cases involving virtually every aspect of the civil rights law. In March 2015, he went back to Selma and participated in the commemorative march led by President Obama. We'd like to publicly thank you, Mr. Ralston. Please accept our appreciation for your life work. And Mr. Ralston, if you could just stand up. He's here in the front. And giving Mr. Ralston the plaque was the committee member, Patty Cherry. She presented the plaque. Thank you so much. Our speaker today is a national radio commentator, writer, public speaker, and author. His column appears in the Union Democrat, and his commentaries can be heard on our local radio stations. He began his career in the 1960s as a legislative aide, has managed a presidential campaign, and was twice elected Texas Agricultural Commissioner. His books include The People Are Revolting, in the very best sense of the word, Thieves in High Places, There's Nothing in the Middle of the Road But Yellow Stripes and Dead Armadillos, and Swim Against the Current, Even a Dead Fish Can Go with the Flow. Hightower has been called many things, including irascible and a hilarious curmudgeon. He's been compared to Will Rogers, who in 1939 also spoke in this very high school auditorium. Molly Ivins said, if Will Rogers and Mother Jones had a baby, Jim Hightower would be that rambunctious child. Mad as hell with a sense of humor. Oh, I'm not done. Hightower has been dubbed America's most popular populist. Populism is a political philosophy which focuses on standing up for the rights and positions of the common people as opposed to the elite and the government. Hightower believes the true political spectrum is not right to left, but top to bottom. And he's been a leading national voice for the 80% of the public in our country who no longer find themselves within shouting distance of the boneheads in Washington and the greedheads in Wall Street. Hightower has spent 4 decades battling the powers that be on behalf of the powers that ought to be: consumers, working families, small businesses, and just plain folks. Hightower says what created democracy was Thomas Paine and Shays' Rebellion, the suffragists and the abolitionists, and on down through Martin Luther King Jr. and Cesar Chavez. And now it's down to us. It's time for we the people to take charge of our own democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the straight-shooting, sharp-witted, sometimes cantankerous Jim Hightower.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kathleen. This is, am I hearing all right? Am I in the realm of things here? Okay, good. I can't quite get my grip on this. Thank you. What a joy this is for me, not only to be here in this great hall where you have done focused your work for so many years, 20-something work, but also to be in the presence of Marguerite Johnson, of these honorees here today, and of the great Gwen Amey choir, a gospel choir that is about to come on. I love having the music preceding and coming in, the flowers, and making this a welcoming place here. The spirit is going to rise as soon as I get out of here and we hear the gospel choir come on. I'm looking forward to that very, very much. And I thank the MLK committee for allowing a scruffy Texas populist to come in here to be part of your annual Motherlode of progressive thought and action, reflecting on all of the ideals of Martin Luther King Jr. It just makes me happier than a flea at a dog show to be standing up here looking out at all of you Sonoran champions of common sense, the common good, you corporate greed whackers and right-wing butt kickers, you agitators, yeah, for America's proud progressive values, economic fairness, social justice, equal opportunity for all people. That's what we stand for as a nation. That's what you represent, and I thank you for what you're doing. Joy to join you and to commend you for your work over the years, putting together these coalitions and celebrating Dr. King's historic legacy, but also for educating and motivating others to come into the light of Dr. King's nonviolence, his fight for justice, his advocacy for a people's democracy. As he learned the hard way, it's never easy to preach egalitarianism, humanitarianism, in a society that celebrates mammon and greed. Sometimes you get to feeling like B.B. King sings about that guy who says, nobody likes you but your mama, and she might be jiving you too. Do you ever get feeling like that? It's not easy, but it is essential if we are ever in our nation to approach those values of fairness, justice, and opportunity. If we're ever to celebrate the phenomenal potential of our people's aspirations in this country. The powers that be, of course, try to make that a pejorative. They call you agitators. Oh, those agitators. Our workers were perfectly happy in that factory until those union agitators came in. The poor people didn't mind living up against that toxic waste dump until those environmental agitators started messing with their minds. Well, hogwash and horse hockey to all that. Agitation is really what America is all about. Were it not for agitators, we'd be wearing white powdered wigs singing God Hail the Queen here today. Agitation built America. And by agitators, I don't mean just the founding fathers, but the rebels and the rabble-rousers, the mavericks and the mad-as-hellers, Sojourner Truth and Frederick Douglass, the populists and the unionists, fighting Bob La Follette and Dorothy Day, the New Dealers and Fair Dealers, Leadbelly and Woody Guthrie, Martin Luther King Jr. and Cesar Chavez, and now you and me. We must be the agitators again. After all, when they call you an agitator, just remember that's the center post in the washing machine that gets the dirt out. We can use we could use a whole lot more of that, that's for sure. Well, it's not just the man, the great man, Martin Luther King, whom we celebrate today, but the people's democratic movement. After all, he didn't stand at the Lincoln Memorial in 1963 alone. More than 100,000 people were there from all over the country, of all faiths, and white and black and Latino as well. And he stood in the spirit of the thousands and thousands of common, unsung heroes who fought, bled, and died to make that day possible, fighting in southern backwater town to southern backwater town to bring America to this point of possibility. Just 1 month after Dr. King's speech at the Lincoln Memorial, he celebrated 4 of those unsung heroes, the martyrs of the movement. 4 women had been killed in the bombing of a Birmingham Baptist church in September of '63, and his eulogy speaks directly to what their death meant, and speaks directly to us today. I think you'll recognize a few of these. He said, "And so this afternoon, in a real sense, they have something to say to each of us in their death. They have something to say to every minister of the gospel who has remained silent behind the safe security of stained windows. They have something to say to every politician who has fed his constituents with the stale bread of hate. They have something to say to a federal government that is compromised with the undemocratic practices of Southern Dixiecrats and the blatant hypocrisy of right-wing Northern Republicans. They have something to say to everyone who has passively accepted the evil system of segregation and has stood on the sidelines in a mighty struggle for justice. They say to each of us, black and white together, that we must submit courage for caution." And after all, the opposite of courage is not cowardice. It's just going along with the flow. It's just conformity. And that's what we're having to battle in our country today, along with the right-wing nutballs that seem to be dominating our politics these days. So we need your fighting spirit more than ever before in this country. I come to you not just from Austin, Texas, but from South Austin. We have a little different attitude south side of the river. Molly and I lived over there, both of us in the same neighborhood. A little more irreverent. And our slogan on the south side is, "We're all here because we're not all there." And I think we're all here today because the powers that be up in the corporate suites on Wall Street and in Washington are not at all there in terms of grasping what America's all about. They're as confused as goats on AstroTurf when it comes to understanding the notion that we're all in this together. Values of economic fairness, social justice, equal opportunity for all people. Now, when I say the powers that be, I'm talking about the downsizers and privatizers, the Goldman Sachers and the big oil frackers, the Walmart wage whackers, the bosses, bankers, big shots, bastards, and bullshitters who feel free to run roughshod over us treating us as though they're the top dogs and we're just a bunch of fire hydrants out here in the countryside. Think about it. In 30 years' time, a mere 30 years, we've gone from Ronald Reagan's trickle-down economics to the Koch brothers' tinkle-down economics. The point I want to stress here this afternoon is that inequality does not just happen, it's nature's way, they tell us. Social Darwinism, cream always rises to the top. Well, hogwash. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. I mean, inequality is planned and it's executed, the result of deliberate decisions by self-serving elites operating in corporate boardrooms and congressional backrooms. That's the origin of America's real politics, which has nothing to do with Muslim refugees and Mexican immigrants, nothing to do with God, gays, and guns, has nothing to do with any of the other bugaboos that have become central to too much of our politics today and ignores the real divide in our society. The central issue in American politics, 1776, Martin Luther King, 2016, is this: too few people control too much of the money and power in our society, and they're using that control to get more for themselves at our expense. That's the fight we're in. That's what we call politics with hair on it in Texas. And it's the real politics, the politics that matters. Let's take a quick peek at this politics in America today. First, there's no need to dwell on the existence of inequality. It's been thoroughly documented. But I'll just offer you two numbers that I think tell us where we are today. The first number is 4. That is the number of the highest paid hedge fund hucksters on Wall Street who grabbed $10 billion in pay between them last year. 4 men, $10 billion in pay. The second number is 185,000. That's the number of kindergarten teachers in America. The 185,000 kindergarten teachers split $8 billion in pay. So 4 hucksters on Wall Street made $2 billion more than all the kindergarten teachers in our country. And that disparity, that glaring disparity, is, again, not by accidents. It's the product of 30 years of corporate and political collusion to rig our campaign finance laws, our Wall Street regulatory rules, our tax code, our educational budgets, our cultural ethos, to elevate hedge fund hucksters and hold down kindergarten teachers. One example, the hedge fund operators on Wall Street pay a tax rate of 15%. Kindergarten teachers pay 35%. They've rigged the rules to establish an American plutocracy by amassing and deploying an army of monkey wrenchers, lobbyists, super PACs, front groups, union busters, PR flacks, academic shills, Fox News media hacks, Koch-funded propaganda machines, Congress critters, governors, and Supreme Court justices. You know, they say that in sex, using a feather can be erotic, but using the whole chicken is just nasty. These people, they're using the whole chicken. I'll tell you that. Well, the result is that practically all of America's money and power now flows uphill to the 1% and the 1/10 of 1%ers. Some of them get so rich they can afford to air condition hell, and I think they better be setting some money aside for that project, if you know what I mean. Yet, you know, they think they're going to heaven because they say, well, as Blackfein, the head of Goldman Sachs, once put it, I'm doing God's work. And if his work is not godly, he says, well, after all, I'm a philanthropist. Don't you know? Yeah, I'm rich. I make a lot of money, but I give money to charity, so that balances out. Let me tell you just a quick story. Here we are on Sunday, it fits, of what the gods think about charity. It's from old Earl Long, who was governor down in Louisiana years ago. And Earl told about a rich man who died and tried to get into heaven. But you know, if you go into that little Methodist church that I did in Denison, Texas, you'd know you just don't walk into heaven. You've got to approach the pearly gates. And there's an angel outside going to review your life, and St. Peter back here is going to decide whether you get in or not. So here comes the rich man, and the angel looks over his life and says, "Oh my God, you never did no good, nobody, no way. What are you doing here?" And the rich man said, "Oh, now wait a minute," said the rich man. "That's not entirely true. There was that time in 1924 when a widow woman on the street needed car fare home, and I gave her a nickel." And the angel said, "Well, that doesn't make up for a life of greed." He said, "Well, now wait a minute. I've got a consistent pattern of philanthropy. 1934, there was that blind man on the street. I put a nickel in his cup. And wait a minute, there's more. 1944, I was coming out of my bank at Christmas time, Salvation Army kettle there. I put a nickel in there." And the angel turns back to St. Peter and says, "What in the world are we going to do with this man?" And St. Peter said, "Give him back his 15 cents and tell him to go to hell." You know, it's not charity we're after. It's economic fairness, social justice, equal opportunity for all people. That's what we're after. And we're not going to accept charity. The economists have a technical term for what's happening to us. It's called stealing. Faster than a hog eats supper. You know, Woody Guthrie had that great song, Pretty Boy Floyd the Outlaw. Said, "Through this world I travel, I see lots of funny men. Some will rob you with a 6-gun, and some with a fountain pen." It's the fountain pens who are doing the serious stealing in our society today. Well, enough of the bad news. The good news is that the American people are revolting in the very, very best sense of that term. I'm a lucky duck in that I do a whole lot of traveling around the country. I've been just about every place that's got a zip code. And in every one of those places, I found somebody or some group of somebodies or some coalition of groups of somebodies who are doing stuff at a local level, who are in rebellion against the plutocratic, autocratic, theocratic, kleptocratic forces that are coming down on the workaday majority. And the people are on to the powers that be. I mean, after all, even a dog knows the difference between being stumbled over and being kicked. And we're being kicked. People are aware of that increasingly. We see this awareness in the national revulsion at the Michigan governor's intentional poisoning of the water of the people of Flint, Michigan. We see this rebellion in the fight for 15. Astonishing that the lowest paid workers, the least likely workers to rebel in our society, with the most to lose, the easiest to fire, least education, have been the strongest leaders of the labor movement in decades. Ordinary folks at McDonald's and etc. standing up and standing out, all fighting for just elemental fairness. We see this rebellion in the crucial grassroots fight to stop multinational corporate powers from shoving this Trans-Pacific Partnership down our throats. Pushed by the multinational powers, the congressional Republicans, and, hello, Barack Obama, saddling America with a new nuclearized NAFTA. They've negotiated this thing for 7 years in secret, and they being not only trade representatives from around the world of these 12 nations involved in it, but specifically 500 corporations sitting around the table, including every brand name you can think of, and of course the Koch brothers sitting there as well. Consumers, dirt farmers, small business people, environmentalists, we weren't at the table. There's an old saying in negotiation, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And that is exactly what TPP represents, serving up the American people, indeed serving up our sovereignty to the multinational forces. And in fact, we see this rebellion in poll after poll of the American people that show overwhelming majorities in favor of our progressive agenda. Labor law reform and living wage laws, yes, they support it and they're passing it at state and local levels all across the country. Protect workplace justice against the Koch-funded campaigns to kill prevailing wage and workers' comp, yes, people are opposed to that and they're fighting it. Wall Street banksters say they're too big to fail, then they should be jailed. And that money should be taken out of Wall Street and decentralized into the countryside out here, into our community banks and into our co-ops and into our local funding systems so the capital can do some good. You know, money's like manure. It doesn't do any good till you spread it around. People are for that. Equal pay for women, overwhelmingly for that. Overturning Citizen United, just 92%. 92% of Democrats, 90% of independents, and 78% of Republicans favor overturning the Citizen United decision. After all, they're saying that, well, corporations are people. Well, if a corporation was a person, Texas would have executed one by now, so that hasn't happened. And they say, yeah, but money is speech. Well, if money is speech, then by definition, speech is no longer free, right? Yeah. You have to pay for speech, and the more money you've got, the more speech you get. That's not the American way. We see it also in the essential value being expressed for public assets and public services. Public schools and libraries, our post offices. There's a concerted effort to privatize the post office system in this country, rather than expanding the possibility of the post offices, including creating postal banks in our post offices again, doing away with the predatory lenders. Right on down the line. And now, at long last, we're seeing this rebellion come into the political sphere as well, with staunch champions like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders bringing it to the people. And they are finding, both of them are finding that by standing with the people are standing with them. Tremendous response to this. Shunning big money, Bernie Sanders has raised $75 million. The average contribution is $23. You can't buy a president for $23, but you might buy a president who won't be bought for $23. And that's the fight that we're in. You know, the real political spectrum in our country is not right to left. That's ideology, it's theory, it's what divides us. The real spectrum is top to bottom. That's reality. That's experience. That's where you live. It's actually your zip code. You know where you are there. And a good 80% of the American people know that they're not in shouting distance of the powers at the top, whether those powers are Democrat, Republican, liberal, or conservative. And that's what we're seeing in the politics this year, both on the Republican side, misguided, I think, but nonetheless understandable, and on the Democrat side as well. Well, my message to you, and I'm sure you're wondering what it is by now, is that it's up to us. It's up to you and me. It always has been. The democracy has always been lifted from the bottom up. And I think we're in another of those when in the course of human events moments that Thomas Jefferson wrote about a couple of hundred years back. And the people themselves are in the lead, rejecting business as usual and politics as usual. Of course, Republicans, the corporate Democrats, the moneyed elites, the media cynics say, well, you can't win. You can't defeat the corporate order. But as a friend of mine who's been a pioneer in the organic movement puts it, said, Hightower, those who say it can't be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. And that would be you, the great fight that you are making. So I'm here today just to say, keep on keeping on, only more so. Keep reaching out. You know, there's so many people in this community that you haven't brought in yet. I know you're trying and striving, but find better ways to do it. There are a lot of Latinos scattered through these 2 or 3 counties in this area. You've got to go find them, and through their churches, through their restaurants, through their individual meeting groups, and etc. You can find them, go find them, and say, what could we do for you? How could we help you? We're on your side. What could we make it? You don't go say, come to our meetings. You go to their meetings, and then offer yourself as an asset for them. There's some farmers around here, those selling at your farmers markets, and etc. A good place to start's right there. You know, they ought to be in this room as well. So many others can be in. Jesse Jackson put it well in 1988. He said, we might not all have come over on the same boat, but we're in the same boat now. That's a powerful political reality when we bring that together. And then just forget the odds. Rather focus on the opportunities that we have to strengthen those odds. This is apropos of nothing, but I was out with Fred Harris, who ran a great populist campaign in 1976 for president. I was his campaign manager, making Fred what he is today, a professor in Albuquerque. But Fred was telling me, said he and 4 or 5 other people were sitting around a table shooting the breeze one day and got to talking baseball, and the topic of the name Lou Gehrig came up, and a younger guy at the table said, well, Lou Gehrig, who's he? And said, well, you know, he's the Hall of Fame New York Yankee, he's a heroic player, died early, died of Lou Gehrig disease. And the guy said, he died of Lou Gehrig disease? What are the odds of that? So, the odds might be on our side, and we don't know it yet. You know? Sitting right there. And then we've got to persevere. Just like Martin Luther King Jr., just like the suffragists, just like every political movement. You don't win the first time out. You've got to stay at it. The suffragists, those 3 ladies, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and the others who led that movement, none of them ever lived to vote. It was 70 years before from the Seneca 1842 Seneca meeting to the passage of the suffrage amendment in our country. In fact, my friend Willie Nelson put it to me like this. He said, Hightower, the early bird might get the worm, but it's the second mouse that gets the cheese. Might want to whisper an explanation to some of your neighbors there. But mainly, recognize the strength that you have in this organization and in the growing organization that you can pull together. I think of great groups like the Motherlode, Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration Committee. In terms of a little hardware store near my home, it's called Harold's Hardware, and it's not a big box thing at all. It's not as big as this room, but it's a great place. You don't have to buy the whole carton of nails. You know, they'll sell you 2 nails if that's what you need. They'll say, well, what are you trying to do? Well, I want to build a lectern. Well, let's pencil that out here and see what you need, they say. They'll loan you a tool. You can take a power saw home and bring it back. And the slogan at Harold's Hardware is, together, we can do it yourself. That's got to be our slogan, doesn't it? But we can't do it ourselves. But together, we can do anything we put our minds to. I'll leave you with this thought from the great rocker, Patti Smith. Sang that song, people have the power to dream, to rule, to wrestle the world from fools. Thank you for what you're doing to wrestle this world from fools.
Thank you so much. I know that many of you want to comment on Mr. Hightower's words and have some words with him, and you'll be able to do that after the program at the reception in the library. To get to the library, you go out the front doors, down the street, and then in the breezeway, the main Sonora High breezeway, you go through the breezeway and turn to your right, and that's the library. So, let's be agitators, not fire hydrants, yeah. Because we are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you so much. Well, this is the second year that Gwen Amey and her gospel choir have joined us for the Motherlode Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. They've been a long-time staple in the Merced area King programs, and we are so glad to have them back with us again today. So it's going to take a while for them to get up on the stage because it's a wonderfully large choir. Those that were here last year, I'm sure you are looking forward to their singing again today. While I have you here, I also would like to tell you that if you don't like the program today, and you want to have your voice heard, we're always looking for new committee members. So we do have sign-up sheets in the front and in the library, and we would love to have you join us, or you can join the mailing list. So please talk with any of us that are on the committee, or sign up in the library after the program. The Gwen Amey Gospel Choir.
Dare stand up on the stool. Somebody have to come and pick me. No, I'm just kidding. Huh? Oh, no, okay. Michelle trying to make me get up here anyway. What a treat it is to be back with you today. How many of you know that God is a good God? I don't care how bad you are, how good you are, He's still such a good God and an awesome God. And we praise Him today. And wherever we go, wherever I go, I'm always having church, worshiping and praising God. So we're going to sing a few selections for you. Okay? Lord, you're awesome. Lord, you're awesome. Awesome. Okay. Those mics don't want to play with us today, huh? That's all right. We're going to sing it. That was Sister Janice Tyler.
Thank you so much. Martin Luther King Jr. once said that the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. David Winslow, who's a member of our committee, has been a teacher for 18 years, and he's currently a history teacher here at Sonora High School. And he, on a daily basis, teaches these and models intelligence plus character for his students. He and the Education Committee are working on a new and improved student essay contest, and David's going to now come up and tell us a little bit about it.
Hi. Many of you who have been associated with the Martin Luther King Foundation for a long time know that along with the beautiful choir and wonderful speakers, that a tradition of this committee is to have an essay contest. And I'm here to tell you that I'm excited to say that this year, it didn't happen. Yet. So, here's the deal. After talking to a lot of teachers, myself included, we realized that most of the teachers teach Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement in the spring. But Martin Luther King's birthday is celebrated in January. So what the committee has graciously decided to let us experiment on is to try and have the essay contest after the Martin Luther King celebration, when the teachers are naturally teaching it, and the hopes that a lot more teachers will become involved. And already that has happened. A lot of teachers have started to work together, to consult together, to try and figure out how we can use Martin Luther King's ideals and apply them directly to the county and to our time right here. And we're going to come up with essay stances and prompts to give to the students. So what we're asking you to do is please keep your ears open for your kids, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbor down the street's kids, and what they might be doing, and if you're writing the essay contest, or if their teacher's offering the essay contest, to support them and to encourage them to take part. And we're already talking about venues at the end of the school year to award them. And hopefully then next year when we have this same celebration, we'll bring those winners in the spring back here for you to hear their wonderful essays. Thank you for your support.
Is most often remembered as a crusader for racial equality, not economic justice. But those struggles were inextricably linked for the civil rights leader. He knew that the inseparable twin of racial injustice was economic injustice. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed 48 years ago. At that time, the CEO to worker pay ratio was about 20-1. Today, it is 354-1. Now is the time, more than ever, for those who truly value the principles of democracy to stand up and speak out. If you don't speak out now, when it matters, when would it matter for you to speak out? We are the agitators. We are the ones we've been waiting for. The Motherlode Martin Luther King Jr. Committee is a nonprofit organization, and your donations are tax deductible. We gladly accept any and all contributions. I was just in the Bay Area, and this year tickets for the Martin Luther King birthday celebration in Oakland started at $25. For 21 years, we have brought you inspirational speakers and great music for free. Just saying. You will find donation baskets on the foyer table and in the library. Please don't be afraid to use them. I want to thank all of you again. I'd like to thank everyone that took part in the program today. Thank you for coming out. You'll hear the football scores later today, I'm sure. And you're all cordially invited to mosey on over to the library for some food and beverages and conversation. It's the perfect time to share ideas about what we're doing and what's possible here in the Motherlode. We all have great ideas, we're involved in things. Talk to your neighbors and find out how you can get involved and have your voice heard. Now I would like to invite you to all stand, join hands, and in the tradition, sing together, "We Shall Overcome." The words are printed in your programs. Thank you so much.